Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where we say, yet again, I don't think he's supposed to be allowed to do that. Why is he allowed to do that? Who gave him this authority? Who knows? Spaghetti Monster knows. Spaghetti Monster knows. Anyways, I've been talking about the Trump administration and the idiocy with our policies towards China for a while. And a lot of people say, Eli, why do you talk about politics? This is supposed to be a tech channel. And as I try to explain to you folks, because in the modern world, sadly, politics and technology go hand in hand. Right? You cannot fight macro forces. And by God, Trump is a macro force. So this is the latest thing to say, I don't even know. Right, I've talked about this before. Under the Biden administration, there was this thing called the AI diffusion rule. We were told China is so scary. They're a threat to our democracy. Ergo, we can't allow them to get our AI hardware for some reason. Right? Anyways, Biden was doing all that. Trump comes in. He gets rid of the AI diffusion rule, but he puts in these export controls. Again, because China is so scary and dangerous, they can't get our AI hardware. Which is what it is. I do not agree with it. I do not agree with it. Right? We are trying to start a war with China. The senile old men in the White House are desperate to start a war with China for some reason. I do not agree with it. I do not like it. I think we should be building hospitals here in the United States. Right? $13 trillion for a new aircraft carrier before the first airplane gets put on it. Hey, why don't we spend that on the hospitals? Think about this for a second. Hospitals in the United States are going bankrupt at an astounding degree. At the exact same time, we're spending $1 trillion on our military. We have to protect the American people. Not from heart attacks and cancer and stroke and that kind of stuff. No, from Chinaman. Everybody knows Chinaman is much more dangerous than heart disease to Americans. We've seen how many Americans have died due to Chinaman. I mean, when you look at how many Americans die because of heart disease every year and how many Americans die because of Chinaman every year, it's obvious why we have to fund our military to $1 trillion and our hospitals are going bankrupt, right? It's options, Eli. We have to deal with our real world options. Anyway, so there's this whole thing. They can't get our AI. Is what it is. Completely disagree with it, but whatever. But then this comes out and we're told that there will be export licenses for Nvidia's H20 chip. So there's H100, that is their top tier GPUs. H20 is their fourth best GPU, we have been informed. And so basically the Trump administration says, well, we will allow Nvidia to sell the fourth best GPUs to China. But anyways, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Trump is much easier to understand. If you just don't think about it, if you don't think about the policies, it's much easier to digest. Anyway, so that's what we were dealing with. Right, so Nvidia had something like 500,000 of these H20 GPUs that were already in stock. They had previously ordered like another 200,000 or 300,000. They just ordered like another 300,000. So they're going to have like 1 million of these H20 GPUs to sell to China. So, okay. Have you been able to keep following the bouncing ball? Now the interesting thing, out of nowhere, or somewhere maybe, is apparently Trump wants to make sure that he gets his payment, right? Remember that under TikTok, Remember, he came out with an executive order. During his first presidency, at the end of it, he came out with an executive order that stated that ByteDance had to divest itself of TikTok or it would get shut down in the United States. And there were these companies that were talking about buying the American component of TikTok. And there was Microsoft and Oracle and all these companies, right? So the government is forcing the sale or trying to force the sale. It's not like, 5-6 years later and TikTok is still here. Again, that's an argument for a different time. But anyways, back then, right, he's trying to get these American companies to buy TikTok, right? So fire sale. ByteDance has to sell TikTok or there will be no value to TikTok. And so it's fire sale pricing. And then the weird part was that Trump then came out and literally said that the federal government should get their cut. Who's going to pay the federal government their cut of the deal? And you're like, well, wait a minute. The federal government is forcing ByteDance to divest of TikTok. And using that forced divestment, you then want the company in the United States that's able to buy TikTok at fire sale prices to then go a little kickback to the Trump administration, which is seems to be par for the course, right? I mean, when you look at it, like people say, Eli, right? This is our first businessman president. He has a lot of experience with business. And yes, apparently he has a lot of experience with bankrupting businesses and dealing with the mafia. You know, your leg could be broken, but your leg currently isn't broken. Ergo, since your leg isn't broken, we really feel that we should get a 10% protection fee to make sure your leg doesn't get broken. Anyways, that's what we had under TikTok. That's what TikTok, right? Now we're getting this under Nvidia. Right? The bankrupt, mafia, senile, old loser president believes that the government should get their cut. Because that's how we work. That's not how we're supposed to work. From CNBC, other places too. Nvidia and AMD to pay 15% of China chip sales revenues to the U.S. government. That's right. In order for them to have the freedom to sell to China, they gotta make sure they kick back just a wee bit to the Trump administration. The Trump administration says, we can shut down your entire business, right? We see that your business's leg could be broken. All we're saying is we want 15% and we will try to guarantee your leg doesn't break. And this is what we're getting 6 months into this presidency. Nvidia and AMD have agreed to give the U.S. government a share of revenues from certain chips sold in China, the Financial Times reported, in an unprecedented arrangement with the White House. Right? The mafioso who became president of the United States. We're going to do business in a different way nowadays. In exchange for 15% of revenues from the chip sales, the two chip makers will receive export licenses to sell Nvidia H20 and AMD MI308 chips in China, according to the FT. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang met with Trump last week. In a statement, Nvidia told the Financial Times, quote, we follow the rules the U.S. government sets for our participation in worldwide markets. So basically, if they want to be able to sell these processors to China, then they've got to pay the Trump administration their due, which becomes just ever more concerning. What are these policies that we have for China, right? Is China an existential threat? Spoiler, no, they're not. But if they are, then they shouldn't get anything. But then we're told, well, they can't get these processors because they're a threat to us. But then we're gonna but we're going to allow export licenses. But then to allow the export licenses, then we've got to get our own kickback for the federal government. And the problem that this turns into is, like, what business system are we under in the United States? Right? If you go to build and create and sell a product, What regulatory environment are you under? What should you expect? You go when you buy your business license, you go when you pay these fees and this and that and the other thing. And what we're seeing now time and time again with the Trump administration is they're just coming in and saying, hey, we think we should get a little cut of this money. Since we're allowing this, right? In the land of the free, Trump understands how to be a mafia boss. Oh, you want your freedom? I guess you're just gonna have to pay me a little bit for me to allow you your freedom. And yeah, I don't know. That's where we're at. Trump has already admitted he's going to drive us into the Great Depression. Great Depression number 2. I talked about that video. I did a video yesterday. Right? He's trying to blame other people. He's trying to blame other people for the Great Depression that he's trying to drive us into. But I guess this is just going to be another nail in that particular coffin. Because how do people work in this particular environment? And then to have all of this money siphoned off, right, in these taxes, right? That's one of the big things right now. Oh, he's making so much money. It's important to understand he's making so much money from all of the tariffs, right? All the massive taxes that have been put onto every American that he has put through. It seems to be illegitimately, but the Republicans in Congress are so busy pissing on themselves, pretending to be alpha dog poodles, that they won't be Congress people for, 5 fucking seconds, right? So we already have the tariffs. Those are massive taxes. And now what he's saying, and if you want to sell to the world, you also got to grease my palms there too. Yeah, it's just a crap show. It's just an abject crap show. What happens when a mafioso becomes president of the United States? What happens when a person who has massive experience, basically, bankrupting companies, getting kickbacks and the whole 9 yards, runs the U.S. We are going to find out, and so this is going to be bigger and bigger issues for the technology world, right? What you need to be successful in business, really what you need to be successful in life, is you need stability, right? You need confidence that tomorrow is going to vaguely look like today. And next week is going to vaguely look like today. And next year, there will be some changes, but it will still be recognizable to what you understand, right? When you're going out there and you're signing contracts and you're hiring employees and you're doing all that kind of stuff. Right, with the Trump administration, the important thing to understand here is it's not even within the purview of normal powers. He's wackadoodle. He's just fucking inventing shit because he can. And so you got to think about this for any of these businesses. What environment is that? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? So what do you think about this? What do you think about mafioso Trump demanding his kickback from Nvidia and AMD? Does this make you feel comfortable about our economy? Does this make you feel like you're winning? What do you think about these massive taxes that keep getting added? And the Republicans just are like, "Rah." Hey, Republicans, I thought you were against this kind of thing. What are these people for anyway? Remember that when the Democrats were for blue-collar workers, they were for factory workers, and Republicans were for businesses. And I don't know, Democrats are now for blue-haired people who don't know what their gender is, and the Republicans are for what are the Republicans for? I don't even know what the Republicans are for anymore. Oh, anyways. Put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Say I'm amazing. Say I'm horrible. Say it in the same comment. All that YouTube is concerned about is, interaction. His interaction. Anyway, silicondojo.com exists. We do fireside chats. Tomorrow in my timeline, I'm going to be doing a fireside chat with the VP for AI models over at IBM. We're going to be talking about what IBM is doing with artificial intelligence and models and that type of thing. And yeah, if you're interested in that, go to silicondojo.com, sign up, blah, blah, blah. See you later.